If there's one thing I hate more than the Boston Celtics not being on television, it's the Miami Heat and just in general. And it's the Heat Report and that scumbag Nick Roloff over there who said that we couldn't get 400 likes on today's video. So go down below, prove him wrong, smash the thumbs up icon to show that the Celtics fans are the best here at Chat Sports. What's going on, Green Teamers? You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith. And on today's show, we're going to cover some new Celtics roster moves that have been going on. We've talked the past couple of weeks, in the aftermath of Celtics Summer League, that they've added some new guys, bringing them into training camp and signing two-way contracts and all that kind of stuff as they fill their roster out here. Training camp's a couple of months away. And we'll also talk a little bit about a former Celtic to close out today's show. But this just came in a few days ago, and I kind of missed it, to be quite honest with you guys. Shout out to my guy, SJU Dave. I'm a big-time college basketball fan. Dave from St. John's is one of the most tapped-in guys around the Red Storm, and he said following Summer League play, the Boston Celtics have given St. John's forward Aaron Scott an Exhibit 10 deal. Quote, they loved his game, according to a source, and he's tapped in, no doubt about it. So they take Dave's word for it. I also saw it confirmed from a couple other outlets as well, but he was the first on it. Aaron Scott, though, he's a solid player, man. Like, good positional size and versatility, 6'7", 210. Like, isn't the most consistent outside shooter, but what you're getting him for is the little things around the margins. I was talking to my good buddy who's a diehard St. John's fan, and he was calling him the most pro-ready Johnny of all the players that were on that number 2 overall seed this past NCAA tournament. Now, his Summer League stats, they were not anything to really gawk over, right? His scoring was pretty ugly. And in Summer League in general, you can't expect these guys to just be totally lights out. But he did, do his work on the defensive end and on the offensive glass in just 2 games. And in that second game action that he had, he only played like 2 to 5 minutes or whatever it was. So this is really, the majority of just one game played with the Celtics Summer League roster. And he had 7 offensive rebounds during that stretch. So it was really, really cool to see. But he was a glue guy back in college playing for Rick Pitino. And, Pitino had high praise for just the poise and the veteran leadership that this guy gave during his time in Queens, because previously he was at North Texas for the first 3 years of his college career, and now he lands with the Boston Celtics after a strong, one-game Summer League showing. And the Celtics are clearly prioritizing defense with the camp bodies, like the other players they have brought in Jalen Bridges. Like, he is another big wing, long, lengthy, athletic as well. So these are just guys, who you bring in to see if you can get something out of them. Josh Minot is kind of like a best-case scenario version of this, like a nice, long athlete who can play on both ends of the floor, get above the rim, and, just give the Celtics a little bit of an element that they really don't have. So I like Aaron Scott. The offense is going to be too pretty, but he's going to do a little dirty work around the edges, like grabbing offensive rebounds, chasing down loose balls, and creating turnovers on the defensive end. Jay King also did say way back when, we covered this on the show as I kind of segue into Jalen Bridges. We're going to cover the other 2 Celtics Exhibit 10 deals. These are training camp invites for the most part. They're not guaranteed roster spots by any means, and in all likelihood, these players will end up playing the vast majority of next season, if not the entire thing, on the main Celtics G League roster. Jay King said he's been added to the Celtics Summer League roster, and with that deal actually came a training camp invite. He actually was the only Exhibit 10 contract of the 3 that the Celtics signed that has had actual prior NBA experience, and it isn't exactly great NBA experience. It's very limited, to be honest. And last season with the Suns, he played 8 games, and come on, look at those stats. They were not very inspiring whatsoever. So he hasn't really gotten a huge opportunity, and who knows? Maybe he could kind of recoup some of that stock a little bit playing with Maine, or who knows? Could he stand out so much in training camp that he ends up stealing one of these 2-way slots away for Boston? Because in the G League last year, he was actually really, really good, man. 14 points a night, 6 boards. Like, I know stats, counting stats in the G League are not all that, they're not all that meaningful. But this guy did put up 7 threes a night, and he's shooting at a 38% clip. That's really, really, really good. So if the Celtics can get a little bit of a diamond in the rough here and hit on a player that was previously underutilized at his prior spot, then I'm all in. And hopefully Jalen Bridges can give us something here in training camp. I'm looking forward to hearing positive updates. The Celtics have 3 Exhibit 10 deals, though, and we've covered the Jalen Bridges stuff before. Aaron Scott was a new name added to the Celtics camp roster, and Hayden Gray we have also talked about on the show as well. Absolute sharpshooter from UC San Diego. Like, he was the second best player on that team. That was really one of the best teams in the country for the entire college basketball season. Gave Michigan a hell of a fight in the NCAA tournament first round, and he was solid, man. 11 points a night. He shot it at a 42% clip from outside, 4.4 attempts a game. That's a list 4 stat, by the way. And he did three steals a night, too. Like, he's no slouch on the defensive end, can force turnovers, like, at a pretty solid clip. He played 32 minutes a night too, so this guy who has had serious experience throughout his college career, and he's also, only had really one game of note in Summer League. The Celtics said, we've seen enough in this action. Had 3 stocks. It was creating more havoc on the defensive end. It was efficient from the field, and had some nice dimes as well. So Hayden Gray, welcome to the Celtics. You have as good a chance as any of these 3 to end up making this roster and stealing a potential 2-way slot away. Who has the best chance to make this Celtics team this season? Is it Jalen Bridges, the guy who's got NBA experience? Give me a JB if you think so. If it's Aaron Scott, the guy who was rocking the Big East this past college basketball season, give me an AS. And Hayden Gray, if you think it's the sharpshooter, if you think the Celtics going to value that a little bit more, give me an HG down in the comments section. Now, this is actually the second Celtics roster move that I want to talk about on today's show that is actually new news, and that is Max Shulga officially coming to terms on his 2-way contract with the Boston Celtics. Shout out Noah Dalzell for breaking this down. Shulga was selected with the 57th overall pick, averaged 5 points, 4 assists across 5 Summer League games. So he was actually one of the more featured players in Vegas this past Summer League for Boston. 5 points a night, 4 assists. Look, it wasn't very inspiring. Like the efficiencies were really brutal, and it doesn't seem like the Celtics were that impressed by his scoring abilities, which is kind of what he was brought in as. He was brought in as a sharpshooter here, shot it at like a 40+% clip multiple seasons throughout college, but his shot was really not there. It seemed like he was very anxious and kind of timid going into his first real NBA action, because this was a guy who ran the show in college. Like, he was the guy for VCU this past year. He was also the guy for Utah State in the season prior. So I'm a big fan of Max Shulga's game. He's really versatile, underrated defender as well. Didn't really show his rebounding prowess for the Celtics in Summer League, but he is really effective in that area as well. Last season, shot nearly 40% from 3 on 5 attempts. This guy can get him up. And that's not something that he's new to. Like, he did it at a more efficient clip the season before VCU. 5.6 threes on 42% shooting from outside. And similar things went down when he was with the Utah State Aggies. This is a guy who's gotten better every single season, and I'm very, very excited to see what he can do. Celtics Summer League coach Matt Reynolds said that he doesn't get rattled out there. Never too high, never too low. He was the man. Like, he was an elite ball handler, like kind of the focal point of their offense last year down at Richmond. Reynolds said he just gets us into action, pressuring the ball up the floor. So I'm excited to see what Shulga could do. I'm not so sure if he's a real NBA player, but I'm intrigued by the archetype that he provides. He says he's been watching a lot of Dante DiVincenzo film. And the other Celtics second-round pick from this past draft, Amari Williams, he does remain unsigned, but it is obviously he's posing with Brad Stevens here. In all likelihood, that's just going to be dotting T's, crossing I's from the agents over there, working out the fine print of his second-round NBA contract, and that will end up being a 2-way deal as well. He will be playing a large portion of the season in Maine with Shulga and with a lot of these Exhibit 10 guys, as well as he really didn't get too big of an opportunity in Summer League, but some nice flashes, a couple of nice lobs, and some top-of-the-key passes as well down low. He's got elite vision for a big, can defend the rim, and can rebound. I'm intrigued to see his development at the Celtics G League level. And with that being said, look, the C's did not have many high-priority draft picks this past season. So it's not going to be easy for these guys to be diamonds in the rough and make a big impact in the NBA. If you want that to happen, let's manifest it down below. Go down below, hit that thumbs-up icon if you want these Celtics rookies to stand out. We're going to talk more Celtics in just a moment, but get hooked up with this awesome deal with our friends over at Fanatics at chatsports.com/champ sale. Let's reminisce on the good times. I know we're talking about second-round rookies and Exhibit 10 scrubs right now, but we got some Hall of Fame level players on this T-shirt here, and it's an awesome look. Go get yours today. It's on a crazy sale right now, literally like half off. So go get yours today, chatsports.com/champ sale. I put that link in the comments section and description of today's video to make it easy for you guys. Go get yourself some 2024 Celtics Championship merch for the low right now. Alrighty, now Jrue Holiday sounding off on the trade to the Portland Trail Blazers. Look, I had heard, or the rumors going around, like closer to when the trade actually happened, that Holiday was not very happy going to the Portland Trail Blazers in this deal because they're not going to be the most competitive team in the Western Conference. But he did end up saying in an interview recently that he's happy that Portland wants to invest in him again, and they're a nice upstart team. Maybe he's just saving face a little bit, but I think he's going to be a really, really good veteran mentor for a team that's trying to identify itself as a defensive one over in Portland. But he said this about the Celtics situation. And he said, I've been in the game long enough to know that it's not always going to be the brightest or the best or the easiest, whatever you want to say. But I think coming into a team and an organization that has the character of this team and organization makes basketball great. That's why you want to come here and you want to play because you feel like you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself. And look, man, an absolute class act Jrue Holiday has been his entire career. You could argue he's a Hall of Famer before he got to the Celtics, but the second title solidified it. And this is a guy who I'm really going to miss playing for the C's, man. Like, just absolutely no ego. Was totally okay being the fourth, fifth option on this team night in and night out. Did his job at an exceptionally high level, gave us some elite highlight moments, especially in that postseason. The game-winning steal against the Pacers. I mean, countless corner threes were hit, and he was playing elite defense in the NBA Finals. Like, Jrue Holiday was maybe the X factor of the Boston Celtics, and you do not win Banner 18 without Jrue. So I'm super thankful for the 2 seasons that he gave us, and I wish him well. I would love to see him come back for his swan song in his career in Boston. Brad Stevens said this on Jrue Holiday. He said, Jrue Holiday I think he stamped his Hall of Fame candidacy here if he didn't already have it. And we'll look forward to watching it and rooting for it and following for him from afar, but he's as good of a person as you could ever have in your building and as part of your team. Look, it's no hard feelings. Like, this is a business. Like, unfortunately, CJ McCollum screwed the NBA, and if you want to have good players, you can't have them for that long anymore. And Brad Stevens, he knows this. He knew these penalties were coming, and he knew salary had to be shed, and he kind of relayed that message to Jrue Holiday, to Kristaps Porzingis, and both of them reportedly were very understanding of the situation and, thankful for the time that they've had in Boston. They won championships. They did what they, were set out to do, and, they got a pretty fat paydays from both sides as well. Porzingis got a 2-year, $60 million extension, and Holiday got a fat deal that's making him $40 million when he's literally 40 years old. So, like, they absolutely made their money and got the most of their Celtics experience. So I thank them very much for all that they did, and thankful that they're understanding and still have love for the franchise as well. And look, this is what I was just saying. The CBA will get everybody one day. Like, this current NBA, if you build a super team, like, you're gonna have to think about it in 2 to 3 year windows. Like, and if you don't win a title, you're screwed. You got to break them up. So, like, it is not going to be easy for dynasties to last very long. Looks like the OKC Thunder are doing a pretty good job as any right now at making that a possibility. But who knows? It's as hard as anything in the world to repeat in sports, and who knows how long that dynasty actually lasts if they don't get another ring anytime soon. With that being said, that'll do it for today's edition of Celtics Today by Chat Sports. Thought it would be cool to reminisce on Jrue Holiday a little bit more. One of my favorite C's of all time, even though it was only 2 seasons. Lock us in, though. Subscribe to the channel for the latest Celtics news and rumors all off-season long. It's the dog days. We're going to keep you locked in, so hit that sub button. See you guys all in the next one. And as always, let's go C's.